Alright guys, what's up? It's Magnum Supreme here, coming to you from my hideout in the woods because I'm actively being tracked and hunted by FEMA agents. I am accused of distributing food and water to the malnourished. You got me. Alright guys, today I'm bringing you a review of a silencer. Not just any silencer, probably the best silencer on the market for the money, the sound, and performance, everything all combined. Damn, y'all getting a lot of smoke on the camera. Nothing I can do about that. The silencer we're talking about is the Huxworks Ventum 556. It's got about 1,000 rounds through it. I've got 300 or so on an M16A4 gun, rifle length gas system, 20-inch barrel, ran perfect. And I got the other 700 or so on this 16-inch BCM. Both guns, I was running a Q cherry bomb with the Q Plan B mounting device. The can is hub thread compatible, so basically fucking anything you want, you can get it and attach it to this thing. Even if you want to go like hub to chemo or some shit like that, you can do it. This suppressor was my first suppressor ever. That's the only reason I'm actually available to review, or not available, but able to review it now. I don't like to review shit before I get X number of rounds through it. I'd like to say 1,000 rounds is a pretty good baseline. It's certainly not even anywhere close to the lifetime of most of this equipment, but 1,000 rounds is a good test. If it's gonna break due to faulty manufacturing, design defects, whatever, it's probably going to break within 1,000 if it's going to. And this thing is held up perfect. As you can see, no end cap strikes, still perfectly straight through. This suppressor, super lightweight, as you can see. I don't know the fucking box weight off the top of my head, but it's no heavier than 6 or 7 ounces maybe. It's like 6.8 inches in length. Not a lot of extra length if you're asking me. I carry around a lot more than that. And the sound reduction on this can is almost unmatched. I have never heard a can as quiet as this one. Granted, take that with a grain of salt. I don't have the most experience with silencers. The only two that I own personally are this one and a Resilient Putnik. And this one is nearly twice as quiet as the Resilient Putnik. Very, very nice on the ears. You can make it 10 or 20 rounds without ear protection. It's very comfortable. Now, like most suppressors, the ammo you use is very dependent on that. With this gun right here, I shoot a lot of match ammo, like 75 grain plus stuff, which tends to be a lot quieter due to its lower velocity. When you run some fucking pissing hot M193 out of here, it has quite a bit of audible difference. Same thing if you're using like PMC Bronze 223 cheap target ammo. That stuff is really, really quiet through this can. But when you pump up the velocity and the pressure, like with some M855 green tips, it gets quite a bit louder, but still relatively comfortable. It's not like you need ear protection for it. Next up, I want to talk about the performance. I don't know if I mentioned it earlier in the video, but this is a flow-through suppressor, meaning it uses 3D printed titanium interiors to direct the gas out the front while also slowing it down enough to give you the suppression effect, obviously. And this can does that tremendously. The benefit of a flow-through design is the reduced gassing back pressure. If you know anything about silencers, traditional baffle stack style of silencers, when you throw them on an AR-15, they get really gassy. They get more smoke coming out the ejection port than I got blowing right here. And this, not like that at all. It does give you a small amount of gas at the ejection port. I think that's almost unavoidable, even with the top of the line, cream of the crop flow-through silencers. But I've never had a drop of gas in my face. I've never had watery eyes after firing this thing. And I've ran it hot. I've done 90 rounds back to back to back just to see what it would do. No gas in the face, nothing. It just gets a little loud when it gets hot. Another thing I want to touch on, this was my first silencer, if I've mentioned that already. Took me 2 weeks to get it. 2 fucking weeks, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, if you don't know anything about silencers, up until, the last year or so, it took you 6 to 12 months to get approved to own a silencer. And my very first one took me 2 weeks. Waited a few months, then I went to go buy my other one, my Resilient Putnik, which I do have a couple videos on. That suppressor took less than 48 hours. Less than 2 days from the point of purchase, I had the can on my gun. Now is the time to buy a suppressor, boys. If you got the money, which I know most of you do, if you're saying you don't, you're lying. Quit smoking, quit dipping, quit drinking. Buy a silencer. You're gonna need it. There's crazy shit going on in the country, and a suppressor is an invaluable fighting tool. I didn't know what I was missing until I had one. Man, these are excellent tools, not only for hunting and fighting, but just for enjoying shooting more. Takes a lot of the recoil out of your gun, makes it a hell of a lot quieter. And with this style of design, you don't get all the gas in your face, and you don't have to tune the gas system on your gun at all. This is a completely factory stock upper from BCM, and BCM likes to overgas their stuff a little bit. They're combat weapons. And no problems at all with the Huxworks ventum. The 20-inch M16A4 I mentioned earlier, it's a Wyndham weaponry, and given that it's a 20-inch, it's going to be gassed smoother just by default. And this thing ran absolutely perfect on the 20-inch also. You guys hear that? It's a FEMA helicopter. They're here for me. No, I'm playing. They can come get this smoke, you know what I'm saying? The M16A4 ran fine. I noticed absolutely no point of impact shift because the mounting device that I'm using, as you can see, that's a whole lot bigger than an AR-15 barrel threads. So what I'm using is a muzzle brake on the end of my gun to mount it to, and I will demonstrate that now. You see there's a line of threads here on the gun. The suppressor just threads right over them. They have some kind of patented torque lock technology bullshit. It's never came loose on me from firing, not even under like 90 plus rounds. It's an excellent silencer. It adds a little bit of weight and a little bit of length to your weapon, but as long as you're using 16 inches or shorter, it's not going to be a problem. The reason I ran it first on the 20-inch gun is because I didn't have another AR available at the time to mount a silencer on. So I just went with that. After running the 20-inch with a 6-inch can on it, it's basically like walking around the woods with a fucking Mosin Nagant. Very effective, but very long and not so good in the woods. So I had to upgrade to a 16-inch upper, and I haven't had a single issue with length or anything like that on a 16-inch gun. 16-inch mid-length gas system. As I've said multiple times, the gassing is absolutely perfect. I think I do have a few videos shooting this thing with the silencer on it. You can check those out. Man, this thing doesn't move at all. Not a single bit of gas in the face. Truly an invaluable tool for any shooter's arsenal. This has been Magnum Supreme's review of the Huxworks Ventum 556. Thank you for watching. God bless America.